knowledge of geography, literature, and history, Artemis felt compelled to remind her employer about the subject she taught the school's pupils. If she were ever fortunate enough to realise her own dream of starting an academic college for women, there wouldn't be a dancing master or an etiquette manual in sight. Mrs. Parsons sniffed, her manner as prickly as the black woolen gown she wore. Our girls only need to know the rudiments, just enough to enable them to converse without making fools of themselves. It wouldn't do for our young women to graduate here with more knowledge than the men who will court them. She shuddered dramatically. No gentleman wishes to wed a woman with a masculine level of intelligence. It's entirely unnatural. Artemis pressed her lips together to quell a derisive huff. Oh, the things she could say to counter that. Instead, she uttered the sort of unpalatable tripe Mrs. Parsons wished to hear. Yes, you're quite right. As if a woman's intellect could ever match that of a man's. After all, we are the weaker sex. The headmistress nodded her approval. Exactly, Miss Jones. A woman must know her place in the world, and that is what the Avon Academy excels at, showing each young woman that her rightful place is at her husband's side, managing his domestic affairs, bearing his children, keeping him entertained, and being an indispensable helpmeet. One talon-like finger tapped the cover of Volume 1 of Sense and Sensibility. She won't learn any of those things in ridiculous novels like these. No, of course not, agreed Artemis. I don't know what I was thinking, lending an impressionable student such a terrible, perhaps even subversive book. It won't happen again. No, it won't. Mrs. Parsons lifted her chin. Because I've confiscated the whole set, and indeed all the other novels in your private quarters. I beg your pardon? Artemis couldn't hide the outrage in her voice. It shook with the force of it, and momentarily masked her fear that the headmistress could have unearthed something even more damning than her treasured collection of novels by Jane Austen. For instance, the latest Gothic-romance manuscript her alter ego, Lydia Lovelace, was presently penning. You went through my belongings? I did. Mrs. Parsons rose to her feet and, eyes flashing, looked down her beak of a nose at Artemis. You've proven yourself to be untrustworthy, Miss Jones, and you shan't have your dreadful novels back until you leave this establishment. Which might be sooner rather than later. One more black mark against your name and you'll be dismissed. Do you understand? And do stop gaping at me like a landed carp. The look does not become you. Some time during the course of the headmistress's admonitory speech, it seemed Artemis's jaw had indeed become unhinged. She shut her mouth with a snap, and somehow swallowed her pride, along with her burning anger. Yes, Mrs. Parsons, I understand. Dropping her gaze, lest it further betray the depth of her ire, she then dipped into a respectful curtsy, something she rarely did. As much as she loathed the Avon Academy, indeed, how she'd endured working here for 3 years quite amazed her. She couldn't afford to lose this position, because if she did, she'd end up living with her fearsome Aunt Roberta, Lady Wagstaff, who would parade her like a prize heifer for sale through London's ballrooms. Her aunt's unrelenting, but ultimately fruitless quest was to marry both Artemis and her younger sister Phoebe off to gentlemen of means. That eventuality didn't bear thinking about. Phoebe was dying to marry, but at 29, Artemis was firmly on the spinster's shelf, and there she meant to stay.